Okay, guys, we have an exciting training for you today. Shay is going to go over, we're going to kind of work together. Um, Shay's going to go over Canva with us. She is very good at graphics, very good. She's been doing it for a long time. So I'm kind of on here to act like the beginner to make sure she can answer the questions that we have as beginners trying out Canva. So Shay's going to do a lot of the instructing, but feel free to ask questions. If something doesn't seem clear, please let us know. This is a topic that we can expand on. We can get a little bit more tech savvy on, but we wanted to give some of you guys just an example of how easy Canva is to get started and so beneficial for your business going forward. So Shay, I'm going to let you screen share and kick us off with a Canva.
Good morning, everybody. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this, as I have never done this before, so bear with me. Let's see. I do not want this.
So while Shay's looking at that a little bit, Canva is kind of amazing in regards to it has a free version and it has a paid version. So if you don't want to pay for a service right now, you seriously can do quite a bit on Canva with the free version. Many of us, as we've gotten into Canva and we've wanted certain graphics, those graphics can be part of the paid version. And so we've often switched over to the paid version because we're like, I want that graphic. And that graphic's worth me paying a monthly fee for it. I actually pay the yearly
Yes,
fee, I think. There you go, girl.
there we
So
go.
Shay's getting Canva up. All right, girl. So free versus paid version. Um,
Okay, so it's gonna show the paid version that I have. It automatically logged me in, so don't know. Let's see. Can
that's
I
okay.
undo? Let's see. Do.
And Shay's
There's the
showing
logout
you
option.
kind of like a lot of options right now because she is in the paid up version. So she has team folders and things like that. If
I
you can,
almost don't want to unlog
you
myself
don't have
out due to the
to.
fact that I didn't remember what it is.
Yeah,
Just
don't
go
worry
in on a daily basis.
about
But yeah, so Canva is just that, like Shalene said, you have a free option where you can use plenty of different graphics that are there. Um, I myself, after trying to use it for a few months, got very, very, very aggravated because I saw so many graphics that were available to me that I could not use because you had to pay for them. And if you find yourself trying to use them, go for it. But just know that if you do, as soon as you save it, it's going to have the lovely Canva watermark that is going to make your graphic look not so nice. I've seen plenty of people do it, and every time they do, I cringe. But that's just the designer in me. So you create an account so you can log in every time, whether it's paid version or not. There are little icons when you do searches for graphics. Let's see. Say if you just search Christmas templates, it'll give you all these different images. And if you see these lovely little crowns, this will indicate that you have to have Canva Pro in order to utilize this graphic without having that lovely watermark. There will be others that you'll be able to see that don't have them, like this one here. That indicates that you can use that free of charge. Back when I first started, I'm not seeing any on here. There were some that actually had dollar signs indicating that you actually had to pay for them or could pay for them without having the pro version. I believe is what they were for, but I never utilized them to know specifically. So what you could do is, let's see, we'll just open one up. Just click on it. It'll show you many other options that you could play around with. But if we want to customize this particular one to make it our own, we would just customize this template. And Canva just did, I don't know if everybody saw it, a little first come, first serve upgrade. So I'm in that upgrade. So if your screen looks differently, just know that I'm also trying to work around it a little bit because things have moved a little bit. So here you can see how you've got different elements that highlight with these what are called bounding boxes, these blue lines to indicate, okay, here's an item. You can click on it. Double clicking will highlight your text. This is your font name. If you click on that, you can go through and just see the list here, or you can also see all and pick by searching all of them or by category. So if you know that you want something that's more of a script font, you can come over and find the brush one. There's also curly ones. I think they had calligraphy in here somewhere. There's all kinds of different options depending on what you're looking to try to design. To pick one, we're just going to randomly pick and change. And it automatically changes it for you. Your size is here. Some fonts have the option to change them to be bold and thicker, where others do not. If you find that you have a font that you needs to be thicker, there's another way of doing it without having that bold option. It's called outlining. We'll get to that in a minute. Excuse me. Your basic background, you click on it and you can change its color. If you know that you want the color to be something different that's already on your screen, you can do this add new color, and you can actually use the eyedropper tool. And I'm going to click just somewhere on my screen. Let's see if I wanted it all this shade of pink, if I can get it. No, not going to happen. But anyway, you can pick whatever you're looking for on your screen and change it, or you can change it within this gradient here, or you can even use slide bar. These are called hex numbers. So if you know what Perfectly Posh's pink hex number is, you can actually type it in here and pick that pink. If you want to undo your changes because, hey, that green just isn't pleasant, you can do either Control Z or you can use these arrows up here to undo your steps. Let's see. Elements over here are basic elements. You have shapes where you can create and add circles. You can add squares. They're going to have the option to put text in as you see this cursor flashing here. So you can type in text there, or you don't have to. You can use it as just the shape function itself. You also see where there's graphics you can use, additional items here. Recently used items, as you can see, I've been playing around with some upcoming graphics. So it'll show some of the things that I've used here in the most recent future. Another thing that you might find is frame. This is where some people utilize shapes to put pictures in. You can upload photos, which I'll show you in a minute, or you can find photos and just pick an image and drag it and drop it in. This is how you can highlight yourself in your graphics if you choose, and then showcase your product that you have that you're trying to work with. This little spin wheel of arrows is your rotation tool, and it tells you the degrees on how you can rotate it. If I wanted to hide some of that drinks on me, you can change its position. I gotta move us. It will allow you to move it forward, backwards, all the way back, or just some levels back, because all of your elements on your page are like pieces of paper on top of each other. So I'm going to go two back and put it behind everything for right now. You can align items if you have more than one. If you select two different things, you can align them left, right, middle, if you choose. You can also, if you have multiple items, See, did it get all three? No, it did not. You can align them and even them up vertically or horizontally. So there's the same amount of space in between the items.
Shay, when you are doing that, so my question with that one,
Mhm.
when you're doing multiple different objects like that, are you selecting them a certain way? Like, do you click on them? Do you have to hold the button down?
Shift click. If you click on one, it'll automatically click on one. You shift and then click again. We'll click multiple items. Sometimes you can find you can just drag your mouse and click both of them, but depending on the items in your graphic, you might end up selecting more items than you want. So
Okay.
I tend to shift click based on knowing that there's many different attributes to this graphic. Let's see. Uh, where do I want to go here? Up in this bar, just to give a little bit more detail on the edit bar, background remover. I don't know how many times I see so many people going, well, how do I do? I've got this graphic for, say the drinks on me. It's got this white background. How do I get rid of it so I don't see this big white square? I will show you. I'm going to use this one here, Reflection Perfection. I'm going to just use the background remover, and it removes the background to its best ability. But as you can see right in here by the O and the P, there's a little bit of that teal color still left. You can actually double click on that background remover. Let's see. I guess it's the graphic itself. Oh, you're not doing what I want you to. Background remover. There we go. You can see there's a little bit of teal up here and a little bit down here. If you wanted to get rid of it, you have this box here that brings you the option to erase or restore part of your image. You can even see your original image that they've faded out or made more of a transparency so you can see where things line up. You can change your brush size. As you can see, it's bigger here, makes it smaller. Blue or purplish bounding box around indicates which one is selected. Just going to erase it. And if I want to make it smaller because it's harder to get in there, then I'm just clicking the button and holding and then continuing around as I want to remove items. If I wanted to fill in the O, because I want it pink in the middle, just restore it. And then you are all done. Why am I? Just close the box, and here is your graphic with a nice pink O. Let's see, back to that box. Let's see, what else is up here? We have border style. You can, depending on what your objects are, as you can see, the bounding box for the image that I've selected has this nice big box. So when I put a border on it, it will put a border around that whole box because that's the image. It's not going to put it around the individual aspects within the image. You can change its weight. You can change the style of it. And back and forth. You can also change the border color to be any color within the document or its options that are shown here, just like we did with the background. Let's see. And then if you want to round the corners on it, you can also change them. The higher you go, the more roundness you get. Cropping images. I typically don't play around with these. So I'm not entirely sure how well they work. I just automatically change it based on what I'm looking to do. Some images will just change their overall size and scale on its own. Others, you can actually use those lines and mask out the images and essentially cut it off to what you don't want to see. See if I can show you with Add a page. Another way to do things.
I like it too. So a lot of times when I'm working on graphics and I'm not an expert at this. I've learned like one of the things me and Shay were talking about is I can go back through Canva and look at when I started to where I'm at now. No, there is a learning curve to this, and you will get better because I'm still improving. But I like to, one of the things I learned, and you may be covering this, Shay, is you can make multiple graphics of the same thing in one document. So do that first one in page 2, page 3, page 4, and then change things out or move Merry Christmas from the top to the bottom, duplicate Merry Christmas. It's kind of neat once you get
Switch out photos, switch out backgrounds. Yes, I
yeah.
do that all the time because
Uh-huh.
one of the things that you will regret doing is using one page, making changes and going, oh, I don't like this. I want to go back. Now you have to fight to go back to what you were at. If you find that you're comfortable with something, but know that, well, I think something else could be done better, make that duplicated page by using this icon here, duplicate the page, and then make your changes here. Okay, yep, we don't want that one anymore. Oh, we're going to take that out. Let's do this in the background. If you put an image on your page and you want it to be a whole background, right click on it and you'll get a whole load of options that you can do. And replace background will actually fill that photo for the whole background.
Oh,
And if you were to,
and I didn't know that. I always just expanded it and then
yep,
the where Shay was talking about the layers, I would just put it back till everything in the back was forward.
yep. But then at that point, every time you tried to select everything, it would
Yeah.
always select that background.
Yes.
So in order to get rid of that, I don't want to call it an issue because it's really not an issue, but to not have to fight with that one layer, you create it as a background and then you can double click on it and then you can crop it out even further if you were
Mhm.
really trying to only get a certain section of that photo and move it around. And I'm just clicking and dragging, grabbing by the corners and moving it, and then click out of the window and it'll automatically change it.
Mhm. I love that.
So let's see. What else do we have here? Um,
Bone somewhere else.
what's that?
My dog's eating the bone right behind us. Arr.
Oh, let's see. Loading files. Due to the fact that we are all using all of our perfectly posh stuff, we're all going to need to have images of our products. Now, I know that I've shared some in the Posh Pink Ladies group. I can't remember if I've shared them in Posh Crucially, and you'd have to double check me on that one. But they are in some of the older graphics groups as well. The I8 graphics group that I was in has them because I did upload all those before we closed it. But to upload those files so you can utilize those graphics, you would go to this upload icon over here on the left, go to upload. Normally, if you download something to your computer, it's likely going to be in the downloads tab, but wherever you save your items is where you're going to want to go to search for them. And as you can see, I have a load of stuff in here that I need to organize better. Let's go
Like
with
to
block it
have
like it's
half of
hot.
what you have on your computer.
What's that?
I said, I'd like to have half of what you have on your computer.
Okay, so it's going to upload. You're going to see this upload icon indicating that it's doing its work. And here is your new upload. There's that lovely white background. Why don't we just remove it like we just talked about? And it looks like it did pretty good. Sometimes you'll find if it's got all this white on that outer edge, it will actually take away some of it on you and you have to go back in and restore it and bring it back out just that little bit. I've had that happen. Oh, coconut. I think it was the Coconuts About You coconut that was on the left-hand side that did it to me all the time. So just know that that's an option. So you've got this in here. You can go in and you can copy text from our website to bring in, okay, well, this particular uh, moisturizers, SPF 30 and whatever else. It's got a fragrance of this. This is how you use it. You add those different things on the page. You can then change the fonts to make it what you want it to. Oh, well, we don't want this background, so we can detach that image and delete it and make it whatever you'd like in the end. You might want that there. Text over here, this icon, you can add any of these. I've never really fought with adding a heading versus a subheading versus body text. I just changed the font size and color and whatnot. I'm guessing that it might be there for additional purposes of if you have many, many, many pages and you have everything highlighted as a heading in the heading spot where you have the bigger, bolder text, you might be able to edit all pages at the same time to change the font style and size because they're all headings. I know that that can be done in other programs, so I'm guessing that that's the purpose behind it, but I've never used them, so I'm not 100% on that. Mm-hmm. So I will just add some text here. You can use the number up here to scale your text. You can drag and pull it to scale your text, whatever works best for you and how it's going to function for you. Sometimes it's easier just to take the text here and just go Control C and then Control V, copy and paste. Not many people are necessarily aware of those, especially if they're unfamiliar with using programs. It's going to be simple, just like you typically would use in like Microsoft Word or anything else. But not everybody knows it. So Control C and Control V. C is copy, V is paste. X is to cut if you want to just cut this text out, you can cut it. And then Control D to paste it. It'll automatically paste based on the first font that you have. But you can always go in and change what the font style and size is. And it's not giving me the drag. There it is. Let's see, what else is in here that I can show you? Just searching your general images. You can search anything under the sun. And as you can see, you have in here, just like on the front template screen, you have whether it's a pro image or anybody can use image because there's no icon in the bottom corner. This is where I got so angry so often is everything I wanted to use was pro, 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 pro. So there's plenty of things to utilize. Place the background there. Scale her around. And maybe we don't want block it like it's hot right at the moment. Maybe we go back to the uploads and see if we can find. Going through the uploads is a pain when you have too many there.
I always say I'm going to go in and delete some of them, and then, yeah, I squirrel.
Yeah, well, I have hundreds of images from the video that I created for my mom for my grandmother's services. So I have to go through and delete all of those. Hey, there's Myrtle. Let's see. We'll just throw this in here because this was a fun one a while back. It's not a face mask, but that's okay. We're going to highlight that one. We're going to turn it a little bit. We can leave it called as block it like it's hot. We've got all of our random text here. Let's see, I'll make that bold and bigger. And even if you make the text bigger, you see how it broke text down differently. It's
Mhm.
just a return. Just delete it and add a space and it'll change. So you can break your text up so it flows however you want it to. You don't have to worry about that bounding box. And then, let's see. Oh, we'll remove the background and see if it keeps most of it. Crop it out a little. The possibilities of what you can do in Canva are essentially endless. It's just a matter of thinking about what you're looking to do first
Can you,
and having a game plan to where it's supposed to be.
Shay, will you take your
Yeah.
picture right there and just show them how if you take your picture, you can put it in place of her?
Oh, yeah. You can click and drag on it sometimes and it'll work. Otherwise,
So sometimes when Shay helps us out and she makes graphics for us, there'll be a circle like that that will be like she showed you before, have kind of like it, what's that look like? It looks like a sky. You can upload your photo and then put your photo in there so it's personalized to you, like she said before. Personalizing, put your face in the graphic. That's how people are doing it in Canva. So yeah, right there, frames, those ones that look like a sky like that, there's all different shapes. You can have those on a graphic and upload a picture to them. It doesn't have to be a face, it could be a real life photo of something.
you could have taken a photo of yourself holding a product and you don't want to necessarily mask it out like I did here, but you wanted to put it in a shape. You know, okay, well, here's a puzzle piece. Maybe you're puzzling all of your different images of all the products that you use.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the uploads and
There she is. I love that. So that I really thought that those were great um things that I really enjoyed as being able to do those things and personalize it.
right. Just trying to see if there's anything else over here. Oh, our logos. Got our logos in here. If anybody needs access to them, let me know. These are the old ones. I've been waiting and waiting for Andrew to decide what he's doing with his new stuff so we can start all being uniform and using what's coming forth.
I'm
Um,
hoping by Uncon because the
my
things
hope,
yeah, the things that Shay's talking about, we do want to stay brand consistent. So typically at the beginning, he hasn't been super picky on what we use. He's let you use perfectly posh consultant, perfectly posh advocate, certain logos that's not typically the way it'll run. There's typically a logo you will use that notifies people that you are an independent advocate. We just don't have that. We don't have verified font. Typically, like if you, Shay, I don't know, do you have your brand set up in brand?
I don't know.
Oh, so I have my brand colors, my brand font, my personal, all put into the brand section so that when I'm doing graphics, I can make sure I'm staying brand consistent with my colors or with my logo. Because in the brand, and this would be another training, but in the brand section, you can upload pictures from like Pinterest and it will help you create a brand kit. So you stay very
This is where
specific.
Shalene's talking about is this brand tab
Yep.
right over here.
Yep. So like You can add a brand logo and it'll pull the colors out of that. You can add a brand font. So you can get very specific. But again, we're just showing you like the basic bells and whistles on the side, at the top, so that you kind of know what you can play with a little bit.
Yeah, there's many, many things that I haven't even touched on,
Right.
mainly because I haven't even used them really. You know, you have all these different options to draw on your pages.
I've used
I
that
don't
like
do
if
very well,
I'm
so I don't use them.
yeah. I've used that like if I screenshot something and maybe I'm on Canva, I want to add a couple things, but I want to make sure you guys know to do this
Yeah.
first. You can circle it, emphasize it that way if you're on
Yep.
Canva. Um, the resize, I've used that before too, and I've had to resize like a Facebook banner.
It's up here. Yep.
Yeah.
There's
Um,
all different options too for your
right.
social media. You have your Instagram, you have TikTok, you have Facebook. So even though we just randomly opened up a particular files type, you do have these different sizes that you can create it into. And this is also available on that front screen as well to be able to pick what you're working with. But yeah,
I think that
LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, yeah, you name it, it's pretty much there.
huh, crazy. So again, you guys, we
Yes.
wanted to keep it as kind of really basic so that you can kind of take some time, jump in there, try it for yourself, play around with things. Um, and then we can expand on it. Ask the questions. How do you do this? We can keep lists of questions and expand on the training. One thing I do want to talk to you about, Shay, before we go off, and this is something that I think some people just don't understand. Being in the graphic design world, you you work very hard at creating your graphics. And on Posh Crew, we have been very intentional with making sure it's okay to use a graphic.
Yep.
Um, Now, as far as that goes, I know sometimes people don't want you changing their graphic. Some people will put watermarks on their graphic. Typically, if I put something on Posh Crew or have Shay put something on Posh Crew, if it comes from us, you're pretty good as far as using it. Wouldn't you say, Shay? You don't put stuff on there people can't use, do you?
The I only put stuff on there that I'm willing to let you use.
Mhm.
I prefer not to have things altered or your logo placed on top of because we are trying to represent perfectly posh. In our mega party, we decided to create a little logo for ourselves, just because this is what we are doing. These are our graphics that we're looking to use. But something, say, I'll just try to open this one just because it's got, I don't know that one. See all folders.
And this is just etiquette. I just wanted to touch on etiquette
Right.
a little bit because I think people get kind of upset when they use a graphic and someone gets mad at them. Ask permission, I always say. Ask permission. And if you get permission, it's okay to use it. And like I said, and Shay said, if she puts it on Posh Crew, if you find it in a folder in Posh Crew, it's shareable. Okay.
Right.
But if
Yep.
ever in a doubt, ask for permission.
Yep. Yep. We just asked, if we're putting a company logo on it, it's because we're portraying the products themselves. So it's company oriented. So we don't want to cover that up because we are part of Perfectly Posh. We are promoting and advocating for those products. So there really shouldn't be a need to put a separate logo on it. Your website and everything can be added to your comments or even your post if you want. But obviously, even that's not working very well anymore these days with Facebook. So make sure you're sending those personal messages.
Mhm.
Give them that link that way. If they're interested, they're going to let you know, hey, what's the link? I want to get that. Then you can bring in that personal conversation for it. That way you can talk more about it and maybe even upsell off from that particular product that they're interested in and give them the website at the same time. The only things that I've been doing any kind of watermark with, so to speak, for myself is just if I create an AI background image, as you can see here, let me zoom in. Anything that I've done with AI and created the graphic myself, I've just put my name initials there just so it was indicated that I created it. But you guys can still use it just the same as any of these regular photos with the graphics themselves. It's just an indication that, yeah, I was the one who built it in the first place.
Because it's
So,
a lot of work. I mean, we're not touching on AI stuff right now. That's something we
no,
can do because that's something I've never touched.
it's
But
something I've just barely started dabbling with. So,
yeah, so you can see the work that goes into it. And as you get started, it would be comical for me to go back and show you my first canvas to where I am now and the improvements. But it takes work. It takes a lot of work to come up with graphics. And we're very thankful for Shay for the work she puts in, the beautiful graphics she makes for us to share. So make sure you always give credit where credit's due. And yeah, thanks, Shay. Was there anything else you thought we needed to kind of talk about for basic
um,
Canva?
very moment, I can't think of anything. I'm just trying to go back to my front screen so you can see some of the older stuff. There's a boatload of stuff here.
And saving it is good because I have went back to old things I have done and
Yep.
I have updated those old things to new things, changing wording out, changing dates out, changing a logo. We're doing some things in July that I've pulled off a Canva I've used before, and I'm just changing them to fit, this day and age, what we're doing. So yeah,
All of the product informationals that I did while we were under Innovative, I just turned around and changed the logos and didn't have to do anything other than re-upload them. So it was less work to have to redo them all. Yeah, it's my
yeah, it's kind of
computer's
endless
being slow.
what you can do.
It's trying to get further back in time, but it's taking forever to get there.
It's okay. We do a lot on Canva, don't we, Shay?
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And the thing is some of it is, you know, from scratch, like this one here, I created from parts and pieces, that I pulled from using the elements thing. But others are mainly just a photo background with a little bit of text and putting your product on there just to highlight it. It doesn't necessarily have to be complicated. It's all in what you want the image to look like and how you want it to be portrayed.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to go through kind of just the beginning steps of this. And again, like we said, ask the questions because then that helps us better direct these trainings towards things that you really, really need. But yeah, thank you, Shay, for doing that. I appreciate
You're
it.
more than welcome. And I'm happy to help along the way. Drop a comment, send me a private message. I'm happy to see if I can help you anyways. I mean, I'm not going to say I know all of the ins and outs because I definitely don't, but having a graphical background, I might be able to figure it out or at least give you a way that might be a roundabout that'll at least work until we figure out the proper way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, get into the Canva, get some things started, and we're excited to see what you guys can do.